Tina Fang from the Canadian Migration Institute walked into an interview in her native China for an immigration agency. She not only got the job, she married the owner. Today, she and her husband run the Canadian Migration Institute, which specializes in bringing Chinese entrepreneurs into Canada, and she acts as a bridge that links the two nations. Welcome to Biz 101, Tina.
Thank you, Randy.
So great to have you. You know, Canada and China have a long history that dates way back, and there's actually a wonderful relationship between the two countries. So it's pretty cool that you get to do what you're doing.
Yeah, I really enjoy what I'm doing because I got to meet so many excellent people, entrepreneurs, smart people, not only in Canada, but also in China. Because what I do, I help Chinese entrepreneurs to come invest into businesses in Canada. So I find them Canadian partners or Canadian projects they can invest in. And then not only I help Canadian businesses to grow, and I see a huge opportunities there for Canadians too, because if they only sell their products or services in Canada, we only have a small population. Canada has 35 million people. In China, this is a population of one city. So why not connect somebody who has the networks, relationships, and knows how to sell your products and services over there, and not only we can invest together, but also sell the products internationally.
So you're bringing people together, Chinese investors, people that want to immigrate, with entrepreneurs in Canada. You're kind of a matchmaker.
Yeah.
And you have your own very interesting matchmaking story about how you even got into this in the first place.
Well, I really love matchmaking because, I guess I never thought I would be in Canada. I never thought I would be helping people to come to Canada. I went for a job interview, and a person named John interviewed me. He was the owner of the company, and after he interviewed me, he gave me a job. Then later, he also offered me marriage, which is very awesome for me because you know, who gets this? You apply for a job, you get a husband for free.
Well, I guess it happens from time to time, but that's a very, so John had your husband, Canadian.
Yeah.
How did he end up over in China? What was he doing there?
Well, that's a very interesting story. He used to be an immigration officer working for Canadian government. After he left Citizenship and Immigration Canada, he worked for a law firm. Back then, in 1993, or maybe 1992, people in the law firm were talking about China. They said, well, China started to open up to foreigners. There might be opportunities there. But everybody was talking about it. Nobody did anything. He was the only person who heard about it. And then he went to the bank and applied for a loan, small loan, used the loan to buy a ticket, bought the ticket, flew to China, found a Chinese partner. They posted a small ad on a Chinese newspaper, and he had no office. So he basically used his hotel as a meeting place. And in the morning, they had no clue whether their business is going to be good or bad, whether anybody would come, whether anybody would be able to afford the price, because they were charging like $3,000 for immigration services that time. When they opened the door, they were really surprised because there were people lining up from the hotel room door to the street.
Wow.
And he succeeded. Yeah.
Wow. So when you went to work for him, he had established this business and
we had an office in Beijing, Shanghai, and Dalian. But when I joined the company, it was at the end of our business in China, because he got there when in 1993. And when I joined the company was in around end of 2000. I, in fact, just graduated from school. At that time, there were many competitors in China already. and the foreigners were having a very hard time doing business over there because they were coming up with new regulations, and only Chinese companies can do immigration consulting business in China. So basically, it was at the end of our
business
Chinese
cycle, so to speak.
Business cycles. Right. So when I worked in the business, I wasn't handed a great business that has tons of money in a bank account. In fact, I remember there was like a few thousand RMB when I walked in, and I was given, because I applied for a very high-level job somehow. I was applying for an office manager, which the position was in charge of our Beijing office. And back then, because I just graduated from university, I was young, inexperienced. Everybody, when I went to a job interview, everybody was like, Tina, you shouldn't be applying for a management job. You should just apply for like a receptionist or clerk or something, because that will match you better because you just graduated. But I was always a student leader in school. I have always been, very active and leading group of people. So I said, I'm not wasting any time. I like to do management job, and I should give myself a try. So of course, nobody offered me a job at that level. But when I walked into John's company, which at that time is called Visa Seminars International. And I really enjoyed working for foreigners because I had a dream. Actually, that time was every Chinese new grad's dream was to work for a foreign company.
Why would that be? Tell me about that.
Because
concept.
at that time, in 2000, foreign companies were the most well-paid companies in China.
I want you to touch on that way of thinking that you as a young woman, straight out of university, just decided, I'm going straight into management. Is that what you would recommend to anybody, any young entrepreneur watching this show?
Yes. If you want to start a business, you should take action and talk to the people who has run successful business, who can give you advice, or go to a company who will give you opportunities.
So Tina Fang, you now run your own business, the Canadian Migration Institute. You've developed this business. You're bringing dozens of Chinese entrepreneurs into Canada, teaming them up with businesses here.
Yeah.
It wasn't an easy road, though, for you. You had a couple of kids along the way.
Well, it was pretty hard in the beginning, I have to say, because when I moved back to Canada, we decided to move to a place called Malahide, where there was no immigrant. So I thought about that. I started from online. So I did have a website. We had a good track record overseas. So I started with the website and advertising on Google. However, the problem with Google is I get too many people, random people, qualified or not, emailing me. So I was getting like 100 emails a day, and I had no staff, and I had a baby, and I was pregnant, and I was, doing a whole bunch of things, and plus I had a dog, so I had no time to respond to all these emails. I asked some companies, I said, I have an idea. I want to design an online program to land actual client. If they come to my website, I ask some questions. If they are not the type of people who will be eligible for my program, I automatically send things out. I don't have to deal with them. I only deal with the qualified ones. So I talked to several program companies. They quoted me really high price, and that they own intellectual rights. So I said, that's not what I want. So I moved on took a course myself, learned programming, database programming myself, and I programmed my own website. And it worked really well for me. I landed a lot of initial clients who are mostly not Chinese. They are pretty much all from UK at that time.
Really?
Yes. So for me, Chinese, I can speak Chinese. Chinese is my advantage. However, dealing with British people, first of all, my English was not that great at that time. And now I had to deal with the British accent. And I couldn't understand, like sometimes 50 to 80% of what they were saying. I was guessing what they were saying. So, and in the meanwhile, I was running a home-based business too. So whenever the phone rings, my dog started barking, my kids started crying. So I was quite depressed that time because I was like, who would be hiring me? And I almost thought of quitting, but then I convinced myself, if I continue, I can improve at least I can improve my English, being able to understand people from UK, which I at least learned something. If I quit, I will get no client for sure. And if I don't quit, even though they may think my English was not that great and they may not, the worst thing can happen to me would be they won't hire me, which is fine. So I continued. And I was really lucky. I had very good clients and they retained me. And not only they retained me, they were successful. And then they referred me. I had one British investor client. He was really well connected in UK. So after I successfully immigrated him to Canada, he referred me some corporate client, which they were headhunters, so they get doctors from UK, South Africa to remote areas of Canada. I did all their work permit. That's how my business starting to take off.
What a story! And now today,
yeah.
Your company is one of the leading companies in Western Canada. Certainly one of the strongest ones in Victoria for sure.
Yeah.
And none of this would have happened, and you've probably changed the lives of many, many immigrants plus Canadian businesses that have flourished from your efforts.
Yeah, I really enjoy doing what I'm doing.
Well, congratulations, Tina.
Yeah.
It's so great to have you on the show. And
thank you, Randy.
Keep up the great work of bringing China and Canada together.
Thank you.